So it's kind of funny is that, here's where things get kind of abstract and wishy-washy. Um, but again, it's like whenever you're drawing, or not just when you're drawing, just, when you're trying to pursue this art stuff and you're trying to find a path, a lot of it I talked about false paths where, you reach that comfort zone and you're just willing to do the same thing. And what it takes is kind of an awakening. And the awakening is rarely a pleasant thing. It's like a rude awakening. It's almost always like something unpleasant because it's a traumatic experience that will carry you with you for the rest of your life. And otherwise, how will you change, right? People don't change unless something is really shocking to them and it's something that they carry with them, right? We only remember things that we get deeply emotional about. But there's always this awakening where you realize, you've gone really far off the path and it's not what you want. And it's tough because you have to be always, aware of that awakening. Because some people just bury their heads when that awakening comes. When their wake-up call comes, they just want to go back to sleep. And that's okay. You can. Again, it's nobody's right except your own to tell yourself to answer the wake-up call. A lot of, I said earlier that being an artist is like an artist is a kind of person. It's a personality. And I find that I have that whenever I'm faced with one of these awakenings, it becomes immediately clear to me what I have to, it becomes immediately clear to me what I have to do to resolve the situation, to overcome this obstacle. And I have to cast aside a lot of personal whims. We always have this kind of, I would just want to roll over in bed and just go back to sleep. I just want to throw the covers up over my head. And the opposite of that is just rolling the other way and throwing the covers off and getting out of bed to face the cold room, to face the cold air in the room and just, slap yourself around a few times and just so you can get up so you don't fall back asleep. And that's what casting aside the personal whims are, because you have to be somewhere. You know that you're not sleeping in a place where you want to sleep. And that kind of discipline, that's where you have less of you, because we are always, whenever we're drawing, whenever you start out, it's all about us. It's all about you. It's all about, I want to be popular. I want everyone to look at my stuff and be amazed. God damn, I have these feelings, these urges a lot. I always wish I was more popular on every site that I posted on. I wish I had, millions of views and millions of viewers. Who doesn't want these things? Of course we all want it. We're all brought up to want these things. But, we're always trying to brand ourselves and stick ourselves out there. It's all about you. But I start to find now that as I tread this path, I'm trying to become less of me. I'm actually trying to erase myself a little bit. And it's kind of like being a lightning rod, right? You have to be a conductor. You have to be a conduit. And lightning does not strike a lightning rod that offers a lot of resistance. Lightning does not strike a lightning rod that is too close to the ground, that does not stick up. Lightning does not strike a lightning rod that's not connected to the ground. There's lightning. Whenever a lightning, like if you as the artist are a conduit, you're a lightning rod, you have to get rid of your own personal internal resistances. You have to allow the electricity to pass through. You have to be willing to conduct that through to the ground. You have to stand aside. This is where you cast aside those personal whims. When you realize your path, you have to cast aside your own internal resistance. It's kind of funny because whenever we're looking at artists, we always praise them for being distinct and unusual and unique, and it's all about them. But I find now that it's like to become that person that is, a good conductor, to become that good lightning rod, it's actually the other way around. It's less of you, and it's more of trying to figure out what you want and being awake to what needs to be done. I got another um, another message, and someone was actually nervous about college, wondering whether it's gonna have what this person needs, and someone was actually worrying about being shredded by super strict standards and learning not, or possibly, not learning what they want. And yeah, it is. I'm still nervous about it. I still have a lot of standards, but when it comes to standards, you set your own standard. And by what I mean by setting your own standard, I don't mean that you sit there in a vacuum and just kind of, say, okay, I want to be like this. And then, because what happens is you eventually, you do reach that standard, and then you become complacent, and you want to go to sleep. The mind always wants to go to sleep. It's just our nature. We want to go to sleep. And others may actually want us to stay asleep. But you have to go out and you have to see what others have done before you. You are not a pioneer. None of us are. The pioneers have, very few of us are pioneers, very few of us go out to see what is new and exciting. So at the very least, when you're starting out as an artist, there are so many pioneers before you that you can look at. See what others have done. See what others are doing that you're not doing. Find what they have in common between each other. Find out, if you have many different influences, it's good to have different influences. Find what is common between all of these things. Don't just do fan art day in and day out. That's what I find happens a lot in some of these art communities, is they just draw fan art of what other people have done, but they don't, they just want to imitate that one person and be that one artist, but they don't, some people actually get pretty good at it, but then that's not the end of the road, or for some people it is. But you have to go out and you have to seek that pattern, find the pattern, find, what do these people have in common. And then the other one is just don't be crushed by work that's better than yours. It is a crushing feeling, yeah, but don't let it kill you off. When I see work that is way better than my own, it's another awakening, and I can see, suddenly the path ahead is revealed to me. I know, that I can push my work further. I can start asking myself, what is this person doing that I'm not doing? So it's, yeah, college is I can't really speak for many colleges. There are some that are really, really good. There's École des Beaux-Arts in France. There's École de Gobelin. They're all really tough, right? Yes, there are crushing standards, but you have to find, at least from a technical standpoint, how to reach those standards. You have to find out. It's not just how good am I. It's what makes it good. You have to be able to quantify things. Don't just see things as good and bad, but quantify them. When I look at, say, line control, I say, these lines are accurate. These lines are straight. They start and they end at the right places. That's an example of something that's quantifiable. So, yeah, but yeah, when it comes back down to the awakenings, it's like, I just wanted to give you guys this last kind of mental image that whenever you have an awakening, it's kind of like if you flip on the lights and all of a sudden it's roaches everywhere, and there's just and all the cockroaches just go scattering off into the corners. That's what an awakening is like. So that's kind of why people have trouble asking me for critiques, because for me, I'm kind of like that light that turns on and all of a sudden I expose all the roaches. But you got to be a person who's willing to run around the house turning on the lights, because that's your house, and you got to get rid of those roaches. And if it means that you have to tear down the walls to get to the nests, and it's going to be an ugly task, then so be it. You do that. You just have to do what you got to do.